So we're going to go through some of the what are called sometimes the touch-up tools or the healing tools. These are tools that are used to kind of remove things from photos. So we're starting off, these photos will be available to you in the asset module or module asset pack. This first image, obviously we need to help the image by removing some of the acne without destroying, normal freckles and things like that. So I'm just going to zoom in a bit. I'm going to press Command or Control 0. And I'm going to go to the healing tools here and choose the spot healing brush. Now there's not really much you need to do with this except make sure that the brush size is a little bit bigger than the spots that you're removing. So use your square brackets to change the size of the brush. And the settings, the default settings are pretty much what you can leave them on. So content aware, and then all that you do is you just click over the spot to heal it. And I'm not going to do the smaller spots because those are freckles and that gives the person character that is their natural markings on their skin. So just the ones that are temporary blemishes. Okay, so pretty easy to use the spot healing brush. What you want to try and avoid is painting with it because you can get weird results unless you have a very predictable surface to work with. So you can see that that's messed up her eyebrow. So just clicking on the spots are going to heal them. So that's the hot spot healing brush. The next one I want to look at is the healing brush tool. So this photograph, the subject has got quite puffy eyes, but we don't want to remove them because obviously this person it would totally change their character. So we're going to do it subtly. So I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to switch to the healing brush tool. Now the first round is going to be totally removing the puffy eyes at the bottom, but then we'll paint them back more subtly and you'll see how this works. So here's some clean skin here, some skin that's nice and smooth and that we can kind of use to graft onto the puffy area. So in order for us to target this, we need to hold down Option or Alt on our keyboard and you'll see we get a little target, and I'm just going to click here to say yes, this is the area that I want to clone from. Then I'm going to set my brush up quite big and I want the brush to be soft, so I'm going to take the hardness down to 0 so that it's got soft edges. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paint, and what I'm doing is I'm painting some of this skin here over this here, and when I release it heals it. So I'm going to do it in strokes and then release. Okay, and what you don't want to get is too much patterning here. So you can see that, I mean, this looks terrible at the moment, but this isn't the finished product. We're just cloning a little bit just to smooth out those areas to begin with. Now this side, I can actually use the same source, so I'm going to do the same on this side. Okay, so now I've kind of removed them, and it's not looking great, but that's where I wanted to go to begin with. Now I want to paint them back, but I want to do it slightly more subtle, so that the lighting doesn't make them quite as harsh, but not changing the character of the person. So I'm going to go to my history brush tool, and I'm going to go to my history panel, and I'm going to make sure that I go back to the original image here right at the top. So this little brush here is telling me this is what I'll be painting back to, the original image. But I do not want to paint at 100% opacity. I want to paint at a lower opacity. So I'm going to go down to, right down to like 15%. And then I'm going to set the brush up nice and big. And I'm going to brush back here, just one stroke at a time, until I get a nice natural result. Okay, so she's got the same puffy, well, it's not really puffiness, it's just her natural age marks. She's got the natural age marks without the puffiness. So I'll show you what I mean. If I revert this picture back to its original, okay, that's what it originally looked like, and that's now. Okay, so that's the original, and that's now. So quite an effective way of just subtly improving a photo when someone's got puffy eyes, and a lot of other things as well. Alright, so let's move on to tattoo removal. So this is actually quite a common thing now, as models might have tattoos that need to be removed for advertisements that they might have been photographed for. So here we're going to actually use the patch tool. So it's very, very easy. Select the patch tool, drag a selection around the tattoo, not touching the tattoo but also not too far away, release, and then drag the tattoo, the patch that you've made over the tattoo, grab it and drag it to a clean piece of skin and release, and it's going to heal it over, and then Command or Control D to deselect. Okay, so it does quite a quick and easy job. Obviously it depends on the photo. Some photos are easier to do than others. Right, so that's the patch tool. Let's have a look at the content aware move tool. So now this photo, let's just say that I wanted to use this photo for a banner, for a web page or something, but I wanted the bird to be on the right hand side. So I'm going to switch to the content aware move tool, and I'm going to make a selection of the bird, but I need to make sure that I choose quite a bit of the grass as well, which is going to help Photoshop to understand what it needs to heal over where the bird was. So I'm going to make a selection, just dragging around the bird and all the way up again like that. Okay, and then I'm going to drag. I'm going to make sure that my mode is on move, and I'm going to drag the bird to the right hand side. Okay, and then when I press enter, it's going to do the calculations and it's going to heal over where the bird was. Okay, so it's done a pretty good job there. Now, there's a reason why I chose this photo, and that's because things like grass are very easy for healing, because it's kind of a chaotic type of texture. You've got to, on a case-by-case basis, you've got to try this tool out and see if it's going to work for you. It isn't always going to work, but in this case it actually worked pretty well. And then also, switching to the last image here, this is a Photoshop document that's already been set up for you, so you can see that I have a layer with this lotus pond photo, and I have created two guides here to help us with extending. So let's say with this photo we wanted it to be a longer or wider photo. Now what you don't want to do when you want a photo to be wider is just to press Command or Control T and then hold down Shift and extend it like that, because clearly the photo is being stretched, and that's not a good result. So what we really want to do is we want to extend the photo. We want to extend the photo without stretching it. So I'm going to escape from that, and what I want to do is switch to the Content Aware Move tool and make sure that I change the mode to extend. Okay, then I'm going to drag, sorry, my bad, I need to make a selection first. So I'm going to take the rectangular selection tool and I'm going to make a selection between these guides of the image from top to bottom and from guide to guide. So I've got that selection. Now I'm going to switch to the Content Aware Move tool, and I'm going to drag this, making sure it's on extend, drag it across. I'm holding Shift to constrain it to just horizontal until it snaps into the right hand side of the image. So there's this overlapping area here. Now if I zoom in a little bit, you can clearly see that there is an overlap here, and it doesn't look so good. And in fact, what I'm going to do is just escape from this and I'm going to just use my move tool and hold down Alt to make a copy, and just drag a copy like that to show you what it would look like without the Content Aware Move tool. So if I do that and then press Command or Control D, you can see that line. You can see where it's been extended. It looks very amateur. So I'm going to undo it, and this time with the Content Aware Move tool, I'm going to do the same thing, making sure that there's that overlap here. And then when I press enter, it's going to take that edge and it's going to heal it over. So now when I deselect, you can actually see that that edge is gone and it's healed it over, and it's a pretty convincing result. Obviously, if you look closer, you can see there's duplicates of certain things, but it's actually a sellable result, and that's been done with the Content Aware Move tool. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and see you next time.